season 2. How's that tasting, Anu?
God, it's bad. Oh my goodness. It's just like, okay.
All right.
Anyways.
Here we are, the finals. 12 weeks led to this. Mason, top of your screen. I at the bottom of your screen. Mason on the play with this powerful Goryos Avengers deck up against, we've seen it once tonight already, this powerful Frogtide in the hands of Arya. Who do we think's favored game one?
Well, I'm going to tell you this much, right? I'm looking at a certain card, Cling to Dust, here in the hand for Arya, and that is a great card to have in your opener with the development of the modern format, Flage just being Flage. These are kind of the countermeasures that, blue-black decks are picking up in the form of Cling to Dust. Guess what? Also very good against the Graveyard combo deck.
Here comes the powerful Psychic Frog. I believe I see the creator of Psychic Frog as well in your chat over there.
Ah, okay. Well, hello. Psychic Frog, honestly, is a card that I have, when I first saw it, I kind of just like rolled my eyes and I was like, okay, what's this going to do? And then like a day passed and I saw what it did. And then another day passed and then it did some more and more and more. This card is actually incredible. And honestly, I have never been more wrong about a card evaluation before.
Yeah, this card's pretty good, and we're seeing in the finals now in both decks of both players, so it's going to be interesting how that goes forward. I just want to let you know that the chat doesn't think that you had enough shorts, though. You barely dipped it; it was barely in your mouth.
You want me to take another bite? Hello?
I'm just saying, if you could just keep tweeting out all the stages of the shorts and what they're in by the end of this match, that'd be great. And also, let's start a giveaway. I feel like this next giveaway is going to be a big one, ladies and gentlemen. I did promise you this. I said the more rigs that you put in chat, the more giveaways I will be having for you all. So, over on the main channel only. So that's Magic Online. Go to Twitch, type in Magic Online, go to that channel. In there is where you're going to want to type in the next word in the giveaway, because we're going to pick ourselves not one winner, not two winners, not even 5 winners. We're going to go for 10 winners in the main channel. 1 on Doomwakes, 1 on Dingoes, 1 on NZs, but the main thing on the main channel. So get across that channel, open it up, get in there, and type the word shorts. The word is shorts. You're in with a chance of winning 120 play points, courtesy of our amazing sponsor, Daybreak Games. As we get back to the match, where we've seen some fatal pushes on some frogs. Some archaeologists finding some forties.
Yeah, interesting that the Psychic Frog didn't actually discard a copy of Gristlebrand there. Makes me wonder, makes me feel a little nervous. But on Arya's side, here comes the frog. And one thing to note is that this is like a big shields down moment. So like the Dimir Murktide deck, right, is basically like an evolution of the blue-black deck that players like Young Dingo used to play like almost a year ago when modern Lord of the Rings first came out. This is in its core a very counterspell heavy deck, and this sign here, just like tapping out on turn 3 like this, kind of, if I'm Mason, I'm definitely picking up on that.
Yeah, you don't get to the finals of this without just skimming over things and not picking up on these small, minute details. How do you think? Do you think play draw is going to affect this, or is it just the fact that Arya's got one of the key cards in this matchup, in that Cling to Dust in hand, ready to go?
Yeah, that card is actually just really, really good because, normally what would the Goryos Vengeance deck do against this typical control deck? Well, you'd use your Thoughtseize effects. I mean, notably, you no longer have access to Grief, which is a big element for the Goryos Vengeance decks, but you have your sort of discard-based disruption. The thing about Cling to Dust is that it just gets dumped into the graveyard where you can, guess what, still cast it. So this is going to be a little bit tricky for Mason. He's going to have to do a little bit of a dance of the dead, if you will, to sort of get his big creatures into play.
Shoot the Sheriff being drawn here for Arya. Love to see that these Doomblade effects or Doomblade plus effects getting back in. Doomblade wouldn't be really good right now. There's too many good black creatures thrown around. But Shoot the Sheriff is what we're going to go with here. And now as we start using the Psychic Frog, exiling 3 cards from our graveyard to give it flying to be able to block the frog on the other side, we're going to see the Shoot the Sheriff get rid of the frog, so we will connect with it. We will go a card deeper. But in response to that, we see Mason discarding the Gristlebrand. So basically no value, but there's a lot of value of it being in that graveyard, right? Fatal push drawn.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious too whether or not this Harbinger of the Seas is actually going to have an impact in this matchup. I mean, it is the kind of card that like I look at it and I'm just like, okay, this might be like heavily teched for sort of Ugin's Labyrinth style decks. This matchup, maybe it's one of the first cards that Arya actually just chucks to the sideboard here, but also there are many times playing blue white where I'm just like, oh yeah, I've got 5 basics in my deck. Nope, just died at Bloodmoon.
Oh, dude, I have lost so much to Harboring in the Seas. It is unreal. Like, and I play a lot of Boros. And I've got it ingrained in my head that Fatal Push is a card. Not Fatal Push, as we see Fatal Push come down there, taking out the priest. That, oh, cool, I'll just lightning bolt it. And then I would get the realization, like, oh, yeah, I can't do that. They're all islands. And I just get absolutely hosed by Harboring it all the time. It is a really good card, but we see both players here fetching up those basic swamps. They will have access to at least 1 black mana. And realistically, that's all they need for both these 2 decks to kind of function. It allows us to play our Flogs, play our Bowmasters, Cling to Dust here. 4 Caesars. We're never hard casting that Gristlebrand. I don't even know if there's enough lands in the deck to hard cast that Gristlebrand. Are there 8 actual untapped sources? Let's have a little look. Exclamation mark deck list in the chat to get all tonight's deck list and all the deck lists, of course, from the this season of MTGO Masters. Have a little look in there.
This is kind of crazy because I'm looking at like what sort of counter magic suite Arya has here to sort of set up the shields, and like you can see it's slowly coming together, right? We had the Cling to Dust, which is like it makes your hand like instantly you're just going to keep it, but there are the full 4 counter spells. There are 2 copies each of Spell Pierce and Spell Snare, and for one of, I guess there's Force Negation as well. I'm seeing 1 copy of Sink into Stupor, which is like not that great. At 1 Consigned to Memory, which has main deck consigned, is definitely the eyebrow raiser. Maybe it goes back to what I was saying, where this specific deck list is designed to take down, Eldrazi styled metagames.
Yeah, Aya for one knows like how she wants to set up. What she does a lot of research before she gets into the battles. Who can play what decks and stuff, because we had the stipulations. Once you played the 1 card, you can't play it again in the following week. So whatever players played last week in the top 8 match to get them here, those cards were turned off. And fun fact that I was the only person that brought the rings last week that managed to make it through to the top 4. And now 1 game away or match away from calling herself the back-to-back. And it's looking really good right now because I see double frogs on this battlefield.
Yeah, and funny enough too, just like even taking it down further level, the only legendary target right now for Goryos Vengeance is that copy of Gristlebrand that got discarded to Psychic Frog. Guess what's in play that is really good against a draw 7? Will, it's Orcish Bowmasters, 2 of them.
I found that out the hard way, by the way. I have 100% brought back a Gristlebrand, drew on 7 cards. My opponent in response flashes in the Bowmaster, and I just get absolutely annihilated.
Yeah, I mean, so much so that even like in Legacy, right? Like Show and Tell decks started playing Atraxa over Gristlebrand. Black-red sometimes goes for Archon instead of like Gristlebrand's stock. Like it used to be the head honcho, and now.
Well, now we've got like Ulamogs as well. So like Ulamogs work really good with Ephemerates. Not seeing any Ulamogs in this list here for Mason, though. Has gone for the full 2 Gristlebrand for Atraxas, the big fatty boom booms, as he would say, in the deck.
Wait, this one's pretty over now. I guess you can.
Yeah, this is definitely over. This means that I is 1 game away from being the back-to-back. Is there nothing she can't do? She has not lost in 2 seasons so far. That's crazy.
Yeah, she's actually won every single pod. You're absolutely right about that. And I mean, I guess with that kind of momentum, there's no silver scrapes here. This is just going to be a one and done. 1 more game, and Arya's going to walk away with not just 1 but 2 titles on MTGO Masters.
We're lucky that she works for Wizards and that she can't play in all these major events because she'd be unstoppable. You know what I mean? She should absolutely be on a crazy tear. This is huge. But is it going to happen? Mason's going to do his best. They were speaking. Mason did think Arya was favored game 1, but had the sideboard cards to be able to put it back in game 2 and game 3. So it's going to be interesting to see if that does pan out. We'll be on the play for game 2 and maybe game 3 if we can get there. He's going to have to try and break that serve 1 more time. But we have a little look in here how it looks like both players are sideboarding. Interested to see what's coming in and out. It looks like that Gristlebrand will be getting trimmed because it doesn't line up well, as you said, against the Orcish Bowmaster. Anything else catching you off guard here? Any surprises?
No, I think so sometimes when I sideboard, I'm looking at just like I tend to do this a lot where I'll look at a card that just beat me and try to beat it. But I think Orcish Bowmaster is just so critical and like damaging, I guess, that specifically with the way Mason is boarding, I do like shaving on copies of Gristlebrand and Tainted Indulgence as potential weak points. Even Force Negation, I agree, is like it's not great in this matchup. You are definitely kind of like the beatdown. If we go to turn 50, I expect Arya to have a swath of counter spells that Mason's just not going to be able to get through. So I like to play proactively, Force Negation, unless you're casting Goryos Vengeance on the upkeep or the end step, not really that great a protection spell.
So we see like the Fatal Push is kept in. That's obviously a respect to Psychic Frog because there isn't really that many targets. I think there's 10 total in the deck. And realistically, you don't care about, like, let's say half of them as it is, but really paying respects on it, keeping those Fatal Pushes in. We see Cling to Dust in the grip as well. This looks like a really good keep over on our side. Mason, a little bit more complicated, though.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at these hands here right now, Arya's on a mulligan to 6. Okay, I think that changes things a little bit.
I still like this. I still think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, the thing is that Mason's hand has the potential to just like absolutely get there. Right now, the game in its current state with the hands as they are is very balanced with Thoughtseize for a couple of these counter spells. This is actually never mind, not funny. Even if you
Well, I'm saying, what do you take here? Like, do we stop the card draw? Do we stop the Cling that's going to stop our game plan? Or is it Harbinger? And it looks like that's what Mason is going to be taking here off the turn 1 Thoughtseize. And of course, it's not a Thoughtseize bug. It's just coincidence. Another Harbinger comes off the top of the deck.
I'm chuckling like Mason did during the player the segment that doesn't have a name. That's where I'm chuckling just like that.
Gee, bless me. Remember, chat, type the word shorts in the main channel. Main channel only 10 giveaways because this is the finals. We will be crowning a winner of this match and this season. Type the word shorts in all the 4 channels. But realistically, you want to be the best chance of winning. You need to go across to the main channel, Magic Online. Go in there, hit that follow button, type the word shorts, being of a chance of winning 120 play points in our final giveaway of this series.
Okay, Thoughtseize is going to be on the stack, taking another copy of Harbinger, which I like. I mean, clearly Mason is afraid of the Harbinger. I mean, I personally do not. It feels to me like that card shouldn't be that big of a deal here, especially when you're just like looking at, mana bases and things like that. But Mason chooses to disagree, which I will always defer to Mason as the better player. Now, the question is, why did we not take the Mystical Dispute? And maybe the thought process here is that he just doesn't care / has it covered with his own Mystical Dispute.
Yeah, I think the idea is that, I'll be able to fight back with my own Mystical Dispute. And I understand why we're taking the Harbingers, though. Like, we've only got 3 basics in the deck. Sure, that's where you look at it face up. But these Goryos Vengeance decks really do rely a lot on these Surveil lands. Okay, that's one of the advantages. This is one of the big winners for Surveil lands being printed into Modern or into Standard, which we're now using it in Modern with all these fetch lands. Is because we can literally just survey the top card of our library. If it's one of our big fatties, we put it in the graveyard, go a card deeper. It lets us sculpt the top of our deck. Now we've got the 3 lands that we need. Ideally, we could do with another blue source in this instance, but we've got all the mana that we can do moving forward. Now we've just got to try and turn this into a W and kind of slow down Arya. But in that face of we know about the Cling, we know about the Dispute. I don't think we know about the Frog, the Bowmaster, or now the Murktide that was just found.
Yeah, regardless, I think the way Mason's hand is lining up here, it actually seems like it's very good against what Arya is trying to do here, right? Like, I didn't actually imagine, but do you think Mason maybe like assumed that he was going to lean into some more of a control role? That doesn't really make sense when you're playing against the 4 counter spell, 2 spell pierce, 2 spell snare deck. But like, there's so much creature removal here for Mason that any of the threats that Arya chooses to deploy there, I mean, they're just going to get blown to smithereens, or I guess exiled to smithereens.
Well, it looks like she's deciding to pass the turn up with the mana open. So this is, this is going to hold up either the Mystical Dispute, the Cling to Dust, or even just an Orcish Bowmaster end of turn. Try and get some sort of reaction out of Mason so we can untap, play this huge Murktide or this Psychic Frog, because there's been no Thoughtseize effects on over on Arya's side. So there's not aware of this Solitude, not aware of this Ephemerate on the other side. Just places land, passes the turn. Orcish Bowmaster at the end step. Mason's going to go down to 11.
Ooh, I wonder if, we're going to cast the Solitude here while the shields are down. Love this play. Tight, technical, talented. Any other word that starts with T? Terrific.
Terrific. Hey.
Yeah, there we go.
Great minds think alike. Love to see it. So here it comes. Solitude's going to come down. Exile the Orcish Bowmaster. That's 1 life gained for Arya. Does mean that the Orcish Bowmaster's token, the Orca Master, is going to get generated though. So that's why we see the 1/1 on the battlefield. Land drawn, and this is the turn I was thinking is interesting. Right? Do you prioritize Frog over Murktide or Murktide over Frog? How do you want to go about this? And looks like we're going to push out the Frog as Atraxas found, but definitely can't cast that one right now.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see on the top of the deck here. As the board state right now, it does still feel very close, and you kind of need just bangers, kind of like I'm not even sure. Like, what are the really good draws here for Mason, right? I mean, I guess getting one of your big creatures that you want to put into play is the first step. What would you say? Sorry.
I feel like it's a Psychic Frog, right? Like Psychic Frog gives us a threat, gives us a way to draw cards, gives us a way to get tracks in the graveyard. Because once one of these big creatures does resolve and does hit the battlefield, I think she's got one way of getting it back off the battlefield. I'm just having a look at the deck. We've got
I see Sink into Stupor,
shoot the Sheriff, go for the throat, and Sink Stupor. Like that's what, 3?
Not very many. Yeah,
that's
not
3.
enough. Yeah.
But we do have this Cling to Dust, remember? So it means we're going to have multiple either ways at instant speeds, multiple Goryos Vengeance to get out of the graveyard, or multiple creatures to get in the graveyard while the shields are potentially down. Force negation, though, that's going to real help if that battle does come to fruition. And
this is lining up really well for Arya, right? You have Murktide. Well, actually, I don't know if it is.
Mystical Dispute's going to get in the way if we want to hard cast the Murktide here. Oh no, because then we can fight back, I suppose. 2 for that, 1 for that. We don't have the 3 mana up on Mason's side, but then it does have an Ephemerate, so can just exile it. Yeah, Arya get a bunch of life, but more importantly, the one big threat is off the battlefield.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree here, right? You definitely want to push here because with the Solitude in play, like this is kind of how the game would slip out of your hands, with the life total increasing. There's the Ephemerate on. I love this. Okay, playing it end step to get around potential force negation.
Yep.
Don't know if that's intentional, but it's very good.
Oh, you only learn that the hard way, right? Like everyone realizes, oh yes, it's no. You need to do the stuff at the end because if you aren't having it caught with force, you feel really bad when that happens. Found an Archaeologist for the turn. That's pretty good. Yep. Importantly, go on, talk.
Did not Ephemerate the Solitude to get rid of the token. That's kind of interesting. Just valuing the life total, life gain more.
Well, our life total is quite low, right? And it is going to be a resource at the end of the day at some point. And the Orca Master token doing 1 point of damage doesn't counteract the 3 damage that we can not only gain but also deal. So I like that for over on Mason's side. Here comes the Frog. Are we gonna fight over this? No, we've got the prismatic ending for the turn, and we don't have too many targets for that. So being able to let that resolve, that's pretty good. But this force on the other side, geez, both players drawing bangers at the minute.
Yeah, this is exactly what you need. Mason's like, you took game 1. I'm not going to let you get away with game 2. And honestly, this mystical dispute from Mason's side is absolutely carrying. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, now Arya is forced to play into it, but the whole game, that looming threat, and finally you could see the impact of the punch. Like this is big.
So are we going to fire off this Cling on the no, we don't do it on the Atraxa because that just gains us life. We can't go card deeper. We're just going to have to let the Frog get exiled. Not saying this is looking good, but Mason seems to be in control of this matchup.
I'm saying it's looking good for Mason. This is great. Arya is next to nothing. You see how different. I do feel like these Dimir Murktide stuff, like blue black specifically, right, is a very it's almost like snowball style deck. Where you cement one piece of counter magic or disruption, right, and that lets you untap and go to your threat plus counter magic / disruption. In this case, the threat is normally Psychic Frog, which then starts to snowball like card advantage. And in this case, because there was no Psychic Frog, because there were so many removal spells, Solitude, ending, Ephemerate on Solitude, the snowball wasn't there for Arya. And that's what's, I think, causing Mason to be in such a dominating position is that, Arya's getting sort of cut from under her legs and now has to hope to draw the right spell that answers the right threat.
Well, shields are down right now. We don't have enough cards to be able to exile. This ephemerate twice with the rebound, only finding us more ephemerates. But yeah, we're scooping up because double ephemerate means we can go into our deck even further. All we need is one Goryos. We know it will resolve. We're going to a game 3 here in our finals, Anu. Just how the script was.
Yeah. I still don't know if we're allowed to talk about the script, but
don't worry about that.
yeah, I mean, this is exciting. Attention! One more game. I mean, look, on one hand, I love Mason, and I'm rooting for him to get his first win. But if Arya gets like two dubs, that would be so cool.
Look, just getting to the finals is like, back to back is incredible. But let alone being able to take this down, we see a little bit of sideboarding here, just showing up a couple of extra cards over on both sides, which means it is the last chance that I am going to say right now. You need to go across the Magic Online's channel on Twitch. No matter where you're watching this from right now, if you're watching it on a different media, whatever, go across to Twitch right now. Type the words Magic Online in, all one word, in that search bar. When that channel comes up, if you see that little follow button and it's not ticked, well, you need to hit that follow button. That's the first step. And then secondly, you need to type the word shorts in that channel. If you type the word shorts in there, we're going to pick 10 winners. How many did I say, Anu?
I'm still in shock that you said 10. When we were talking about this, I thought you said 3. And I was like, oh, that's great. And then you just bust off the 10 giveaways that we're doing on the Magic Online channel only. You can still win on the other 3 channels, but the Magic Online channel is where you're going to go right now. Type in shorts to enter the giveaway and join maybe our biggest giveaway yet. And I didn't get a chance to see, did Mason end up cutting the second force negation for the Nile Spellbomb? Because that's like a last second swap that I kind of find interesting, maybe sort of acknowledging that force negation doesn't really vibe with the game plan that you're trying to execute in this matchup.
Yeah, well, we want to. I didn't see it myself either, but we kind of want to see if we can slow down the early Murktides, right? An early Murktide resolving is horrendous. Like, we need a few turns to be able to set up. And now that they've got Arya on the play here in game 3 with everything on the line, we need to be able to slow things down. And something like an early Spellbomb would be able to slow that down quite significantly going forward. But just passing the turn back, we actually have a Spellbomb on the other side for Arya, so that's something that Mason's going to have to try and play through. Does have the Prismatic ending in hand, though, but we see that there's a Spell Pierce sticking around. In fact, we have Cling to Dust in all 3 games.
Yeah.
In that opener. How many are we playing?
I see one in the main deck.
That's it. Okay, well, we've got a Thoughtseize as well, and that might be a good way of baiting out this Spell Pierce.
Yeah, I don't know how much I like jamming the Thoughtseize here, but you do have the Mystical Dispute. I think the Spell Pierce is a forced play here.
Oh, actually, with the Dispute, that is interesting. I kind of like doing it this way because now I've got I could go for the ending on the Spellbomb, but deciding against it.
The problem with ending on Spellbomb is like it's never going to work, right? I don't think Arya's ever going to leave.
But that's fine.
Tap out. Okay. Oh, like, interesting.
If you get Spellbomb off the battlefield, that means our plan A is back on the table. It's not now we've got to fight through.
Okay, wait. Let's take 2 steps back here. Are we sure that Mason's plan A in these post-board games is the reanimation strategy?
No, I'm not sure at all.
Yeah, me neither, right? Because like if you look at how game 2 played out, this was just like I'm a blue-white deck and you've got a Cling to Dust in your hand, like ha 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 ha. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I feel like
we need to find some action, and we're not really finding it over on Arya side. We've got a lot of reaction going on, a few lands, a couple of fatal pushes, and this Cling. Cling can draw us a card if needs be, if we really get to those dire situations, as well as the Spellbomb. But Mason's just doing Mason's thing. Yeah, I'll just crack, end the turn, go get another Surveil land, try and get another big fatty in the graveyard, or manipulate the top of my deck. I can untap. We can see Psychic Frog. We see Priest. And we like that card. So it looks like it's staying on top. It was a Mystical Dispute.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Now, is this going to be... And this is going to let us line up being able to get our Frog on the battlefield, play around Mystical Dispute on the other side, but we've got multiple ways to deal with that with these fatal pushes. Also, the good art. I've just upgraded to these arts, the Assassin's Creed ones.
Ooh, okay. I personally prefer like original artworks. Oh, okay. All right, there's another fatal push. This this not how I expected this matchup to play out. It seems like both players have assumed the control role here, with like literally neither playing have anything, and I don't know who actually executes better here.
Well, I think it's who can ever go over the top the quickest, right? Well, there's step one, is getting something in the graveyard, but the flip side, this is going to force the nice spell bomb. So what Mason really wants to find now is a Goryos or something like that. So in response to the spell bomb being cracked, we can then get it out of the graveyard. Unfortunately for him, there is a cling to dust over an Arya's hand.
Yeah, I think actually one way or another, like even with the Nile spellbomb in play, like you don't have a choice. You have to bin the Atraxa here, right? Like there's no world where you try to draw it.
No.
Yeah,
No.
so
Not unless it's like the very last one that you have, but like this is a show of strength, right? Like that's a show of strength.
Yeah.
Hey, here's those fatal pushes I was talking about. Look, we talk about them. All four of them are now seeing play over on Arya's side. 2 in the hand, 2 in the bin.
This is I don't know how I feel about this.
Another surveil land, but we've
I'm
got
looking at
access
these
to
fatal
cling now.
Yeah. I'm looking at these fatal pushes and I'm like, oh no, this is really bad. But like again, Mason's just playing control. He's got nothing proactive going on. So then I guess let's advance to the next step, right? What does each player want to draw to sort of push themselves into a better situation? And oddly enough, I feel like the most obvious card from both sides is Psychic Frog.
Now, this is interesting. Would you counter this? I think we're going to use the cling to dust from the graveyard, exiling the cards that we need to be able to exile a card from Mason's side. Do we go for card draw, or do we go to get one of the Atraxa out of the graveyard? We're going for the card draw, targeting the Forces. And Harbinger was the draw.
You still have the Nile Spellbomb at all times, and it's not like the Cling to Dust is actually going anywhere. With the Bloodstained Mire, the actual Nile Spellbomb itself, and the card that you get off the Surveil, you'll be able to escape the Cling to Dust on the way back. So this is what I was talking about right earlier, where when you're playing from the blue-black side, you really want to find ways to snowball your card quantity, because sometimes your card quality isn't quite there. If you draw like a Spell Snare, and then they have like a 1-mana spell or something like those kind of situations, right? But if you have all the cards, you're good to go. So this is... I love this. Just draw more cards, get more resources, and I
was interested if this was going to be the line that Mason was going to take. Are we going to basically 2 for 1 ourselves there, or will we tap out Arya, let the Frog resolve, and then just use this prismatic ending that we have in hand to deal with the Frog? Decides against it though, but that means if Arya draws another land, it can play that Harbinger with mana up to pay for the last mystical dispute. And Mason's side of the battlefield is... Oh, we're going for it. We're saying you need to crack this spell bomb and crack it now without the value of drawing the extra card.
Yeah, I like it.
But shields are down. This Harbinger is going to come down.
I don't think Mason really has the bandwidth to really play around that card. And I mean, like with the way the matchup is generally supposed to play, like I like this. You're extracting value where you can, but here comes the slam. And I mean, look, all I'm saying is 7 turns is not as short as you think, or as long as you think. I think it's going to be done.
Goryos off the top. If we waited another turn, we would have had some sort of shenanigans that could have happened. But having to pass the turn back, we do have outs like Solitude would be good here. A white source, the basic planes would be good here.
How about Gristlebrand?
Not ideal. Well, look, hear me out. We draw the swamp. We get max hand size. We discard the Gristlebrand. It could happen. Are we going to see Harbinger take this down? The finals, 12 weeks of Magic to this point. Is it all going to be done and won by a simple 2/2 Grizzly Bear?
Oh man, Mason's deck is starting to peter out. We had a couple insane heaters off the top here earlier this game, and in the last one. This is the downside. Sometimes you just draw the one of Gristlebrand. Sometimes you draw the extra copy of Atraxa.
Psychic Frog's a good one, though. That's going to be able to add the clock to it.
Oh, that's actually just going to be lethal if we don't find something right now.
That is good. What do we find right now? It's got to be White Source, right? Or Solitude? Solitude. It's just a basic planes. I think we've got a back-to-back on our hands, Anu.
No, wait. Okay, well, here's the question, though. One does not simply discard their entire hand to a Psychic. I mean, maybe you do, but that is a big risk, right? Like, do you think Arya is actually just going to go for it here? 2 plus 4, 5?
What are we playing around? We're playing around Solitude, right? And like, why would we have not Solitude last turn. That means is this turn to draw it or not? Do you want to give Mason more chances to do it, or do you want to play round the fact that he's got it? We can discard to what we can. In fact, we can discard a bunch of cards and hold up this stun schooling, which doesn't even play around it.
That's one.
We've got the counter magic for it. I think we've got this. I think we've got a back-to-back. Oh, okay. Okay, playing it safe. Not that I know if there's an out here or not, but
it's interesting too because we have the Stern Scolding, which counters the Solitude as well. So maybe the situation is just too good for you, where you can't lose. So
I don't know what it's got to be, but it's got to be an amazing top deck here. Maybe something we're not thinking about. Card is don't keep us in suspense. Oh my god!
Okay. Mason's hand is updating soon, but there is the Stern Scolding for the Solitude that Mason top decked at the very last second.
Oh my word! And it's we got the mana up, we got the mana and the counter magic up needed to do it. I think we've got a little bit of stalling on the hands here, but we drew the card we needed. But the answer was there in hand for Arya. Unless the hands are different to what we're seeing.